am Van Bankston, the rector here at Good Shepherd Episcopal Church. And I would like to welcome you to the church and for this wonderful event of the Lights of Life 2021. For many years, Good Shepherd has hosted this event and supported the invaluable work of Carolyn Quinlan Hospice with its annual and seasonal service of remembering and honoring the lives of loved ones by name. Personally, I think the care of hospice is the ultimate spiritual ministry because Carolyn Quinlan cares not only for the body, but also for the mind and the soul of their clients and their families during one of the most important times of life. As well, we here at the church enjoy the beauty of the lit tree across the street. So again, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi everybody. I want to echo again another welcome and thank you for coming tonight. I'm Diana Sebstein, I'm the Director of Bereavement for the Bereavement Center and for Hospice. And it is very important that we're all here together to share our special loved ones with each other. I know a lot of you have already heard me say numerous times about the power of the group coming together to support each other, and this is evidenced here tonight, so thank you. So before we get started with our program, I did want to introduce our guest readers for tonight. We are going to have the reading of the memorial names. Our special lights are from Marlena Shedding, our Chief Operating Officer for Caring and Quinlan Hospice, and then Sean Strube from Mayor of Milford here, Tracy McManus, volunteer for Caring and Quinlan Hospice, Don Bump, who's our chaplain for Caring and Quinlan Hospice. John Quinlan is here tonight. He's the Director of Foundation for the Caring and Quinlan Charitable Foundation. And then the last of the reading of the names will be myself. And then we will have a musical selection and some words of reflection before we transition across the street. We'll have a few more readings and then that will be the end of the service. So without further ado, I will be calling up Marlena.
Just one little thing before we start our readings. We have a little bit of business. Diana, if I could have you come up here, please. Diana Cepsta has been a long-standing and dedicated member of the Caring and Quinlan Hospice. She's been with us for 16 years, and we want to show her our appreciation because she has a great passion for what she does. She is very passionate about helping people through their grief period, and she has been very, very instrumental in setting up the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center services through all these years. So we want to, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Diana, for all that you've done. Now I'm going to start with the readings of the Lights of Life featured stars. Dominic A. Ruggiero, Sr., with love from the Ruggiero family. Carol Ann Presley, with love from Laurel Napolitani. Jack Goebel, with love from Marie Goebel. Antoinette Rando, with love from Michelle Weibel. Holly Ann Palanchar, with love from Dave Palanchar. Jill Palanchar, with love from Dave Palanchar. John G. Harris, with love from F.W. Weierstall. Sandra Smith Fredericks, with love from William Fredericks. David B. Simmons Sr., with love from Ruth, Dennis, and David Simmons, and Mark Coteen. Carol J. Hazelton, with love from Ruth, Dennis, and David Simmons, and Mark Coteen. John Pinner, with love from Robin Pinner. William T. Lovard, with love from Robert Lovard. Dorothy Ann Musilli, with love from Chuck and Laura Musilli. Charles A. Musilli, Jr., with love from Chuck and Laura Musilli. Louis Amari, with love from Chuck and Laura Musilli. Anna Mazarova, with love from Vladimir Binchtok. Janice Stevens, with love from Mark Avendolio. Karen A. Coln, the Princess, with love from Peter E. Coln Sr. Jean Nichols, with love from Marie Hogarty. Janet Lee Stye, with love from Adolph Stye. Dennis Leonard, with love from Ellen Leonard. Maria Zappi, with love from Rena Maslow. Virginia Woods, with love from Linda Rains. Christian Edward Jarecki, with love from Helene and Edward Jarecki. Joan Clemens, with love from Bruce, Sean, and Lauren Clemens. Residents, loved ones, and friends, with love from United Methodist Communities at Bristol Glen. Joseph Abdi, Rosalie Al Akampora, Louis Amare, Alan Ambrose, Earl Amy, Andy and Nancy Andrico, Anna Angevine, Dick Banta, Joseph Baumgartner, Victoria Baumgartner, Amy Ballou, Emma Ballou, Adelaide Bedell, Beatrick and J. Lynn Bedell, Catherine and Jack Bedell, Mike Bedell, Mary and Harold Bellis, Russell Lewis Bennett, Theodore Bennett, Raymond A. Bernroth, Bessie Berry, Charlotte A. Berry, Grace Bagato, George Blake, John Blake, Reverend Gary Bloomer, George Bober, Marlon Bober, Joan Bono, Walt Bonstein, Debbie Bowens, Kelly Bowes, Ted Brace, Helen Brannon, Dale Briggs.
Eileen and Wayne Bridman, Loretta Brown, Glenn R. Brucio, Sarah L. Budd, Karen Burke, Thomas Burke, Arthur Burkus, Anthony James Bush, Billy Butler, Virginia Butler, David Byrne, Sister Christine Cables, Ronald Cabriel, Frank G. Calandriello, Bob Callahan, Anthony Canistra, Frank Capoletti, Tony Carbone, Michael Carbonello, Reginald J. Card II, Carmichi family, Christine L. Carr, Harriet E. Carr, Wilbur A. Carr, Wilbur E. Carr, John J. Carter, William J. Casey Sr., Jean Casey Wood, Edwin Cashin, Emerlinda N. Castellanos, Ophelia G. Castellanos, Rogelio Roger Castellanos, Anne-Marie Catalano, Anthony Sabrinsky, the Serbone family, Joseph Chervenchik Jr., Don Chaplin, Margaret Peggy Chakur, Vincent Chirico, Ronald Christensen, Elizabeth Ciccarelli, Marlene M. Clark, Joan Clemens, Greg Clymer, Generosa Collins, Lucy Combs, Mary C. Compton, Robert B. Compton, Frank Conti, Wilmer A. Corey, George Corrado, Howard Kosh, Howard E. Kosh, R. Patrick Costello, George Cordes Jr., Ann L. Crane, Everett Dean Crane, Raymond J. Cullen Jr., James Culligan, Allison Cummins, Teresa Curry, Arvid Danielson, Dottie Danzer, David W. Davenport, Ethan Parker Davenport, Francis and Alfred Davis, Alva H. Davis, Darlene Ann Davis, Diane Davis, Marion Tiedeback Davis, Robert Davis, Jerry Day, Arthur DeGraff, Ruth DeGraff, Emily Della Vedova, Emily M. Della Vedova, Mary Delmont, Christian Denmead, Joan Dennis, Joyce DeNora, Rosemary DePinto, Mary DePue, Judy Desiderio, Alex John DeTore, Vita and Gus Desidou, Donna, Bill Dwyer, the Eckridge family, Robert F. Ehalt, Brian Eisenhart, Jean Elmer, Eileen Eppel, Carolyn B. Ernst, John C. Ernst, Chad Eister, Liam Dean Fagan, Frank Farinella, Joan Farinella, Jack Farrell, John Farrell, May Farrell.
Diesel Fair, Francis Feist, George Ferrare, Mary Ferrare, Mario Natale Ferraro, Mary Ferraro, George Figueroa, Pop George Figueroa, Edward Filipowski, Mary Filipowski, Hans Fisher, Johnny Fisher, May Fisher, Scott Fisher, Florence, Anna Florentine, Louis Florentine, Grace Brennan Flynn, Mr. and Mrs. L.A. Folensby, Danny Forrester, Mimi Frenek, Walter T. Friedrichsen, Sandra Smith Friedrichs, Raymond Freeborn, Joan Freeman, James L. Frey, Jean Freeling, Dominic Mickey Frenzy, Joan Marie Frenzy, Michael Duke Frenzy, Robert from Mollet, Joan Gadwell, Eugene Galan, Karen M. Gardner, Michael Garvey, Ed Gaskin, Jeff Gaynor, George Geary, Helena Geary, Charles A. Girth, John P. Guillermo, Frank H. Gibbs, Jack Gogol, Harvey Gold, Kenneth Gold, Richard Gonzalez, Christopher Richard Gorman, Sean Francis Gorman, Frank A. Gurrell, Lillian Gurrell, Betty Gray, Susan Rosiska Gray, Tommy Gray, Roger W. Gutterson, Charles Hamilton, Barry Hampy, James Harley, Anna G. Harris, Ernest R. Harris, George G. Harris, Barry Racy Havens, Carol J. Hazelton, Albert Hayden Wolf, Dolores Heinrich, Amanda Heinsohn, Doris Hill, Linda Hoffman, Robert Holder, Peter and Rita Holodinsky, Peter M. Holodinsky, Jules Horan, Arthur King Hosking, Sister Mary Alice Howley, OSF, Margaret Peg Huber, Richard Hughes, James Hutchinson, Brant J. Hutner, Donald J. Irwin, Joan M. Irwin, Mary Chapel, Christian Edward Jureski, Barbara Joan Jokes, Barbara Sue Jokes, Jean Johnson, Bob Jones, Charlie Juckett, Hildegard Kabitsky, Werner Kabitsky, Kalish family, Robert A. Kays, Linda Kennedy, Francis Kinney, Bill Keese, Pierre F. Kleem, Nadine Clem, Richard Clem, Wilbur Clem, Doris E. Kobler, Karen A. Collin the Princess, Helen Konarski, Richard Kopesky, Donald Kovac, and Edward Grizinspich.
John Krebs, Alice and Russell Kreis, Judith S. Kroboth, Irene La Caruba, John La Caruba, James Joseph Lane, Tommy Lehner, Daniel R. Lano, Edna M. Lano, Diana Lapiano, Larney family, Marion La Trinico, Emily Lenord, Eugenie Lenore, Dennis Lenard, Richard W. Letts III, Nancy Lewis, Mama Lillian, Little family, Wally Litz, Carmen J. Ruza Jr., Carol Lombardi, Irene B. Lomel, Barbara Long, Longenecker family, Juanita Lopresti, loved ones, William T. Laverde, Gail Ludwig, Amira Lucart, Gina Luisi, Joseph Lupo, Helen Leidecker, Ellen Lynch, Lynch family, Barry Moss, Fred Moss, Kenneth F. McDonald, Alan Jr. and Alan Sr. McDuff, Robert Mack, William Maggers, John Maggio, Lorene Maggio, Lawrence Maggio, Aunt B. Manazia, Edward and Sadie Manzoni, Michelle Marciana, Marcy, Fred Marion, Anna Mazurova, Arthur Erks and Marilyn Moss, Sharon Mama Martinelli, John Mason, Keith Matthew, Vicky Matthew, Carrie Matos, Carrie Renee Matos, Fred R. Mall Sr., Mr. and Mrs. Charles P. McAvoy Sr., Johanna McCabe, Winifred McCabe, Dot and Jack McCarthy, Mike and Peg McCulley, Doreen McFadden, Maureen McLaughlin, McGrath family, Marion
Irene Mendyke, Scott Mendyke, Trina Mendyke, Sherry Mendyke, Grace Marie Merkovich, Aunt Mickey, Andrew Makita, Andy Makita, Donna Makita, Paul Joseph Mikowski, Pamela Malone, Ernie Minardi, Philomena D. Miskovich, Irene Mitchell, Samuel Mitchell, Laura Mollyvid, Mom, Dad, and Judy, Mom, Russ, and Dad, Mommy, John Monahan, Setsu Nana Mandello, Timothy Papa Mandello, Mavis Manel, Deirdre Moore, Donald L. Moore, Frank Moore, Betty Morris, Elizabeth Morris, Ginny Morrissey, Andy Morrisroe, Peggy Morrisroe, Anthony Mugaburo, Lorraine K. Mullen.
Alfred Murphy, Marion Murphy, Mary Murphy, Dorothy Ann Musilli, Charles A. Musilli Jr., John Mick, Nancy, John J. Madison Sr., Brian Eric Newley, Charles R. Nelson, Terry Ann Nelson, John Nervetti, Jean Nichols, Paul Nimbley, Kimberly Nolan, James P. Noonan, Peter G. Nordhausen, Shirley Novak, Sergeant Timothy O'Brien, Maddock O'Callahan, Rose O'Hagan, Dorothy Oldfield, Shirley A. Oliver, Frederick E. Oliver Jr., Eric M. Orr, Evelyn M. Orr, Evelyn Orr, Carol Osifchin, Dion Osborne, Bella Sophia Pagnati, Holly Ann and Jill Palanchar, Frank Pastor, Judy Pastor, Patches, Joseph and Nolan Patricia, Carol G. Payne, Doris Pedersen, John Jack Penrose, Lori Lee Penrose, Matthew Penrose, Marianne Perugino, J. Thomas Perrine, Thomas Perrine, Kathy Peters, Paul J. File, Byron Phoebus, Ruth Ann Phoebus, Gail Hewitt Pinkham, John Pinner, Valerie Pietrowski, Leonora Pittenger, Emmett Pittenger Jr., Joseph Pluta, Judy Davies Hostess, Ruth E. Powell, Vincent H. Powell, Carol Ann Presley, Robert and Carol Price, Michael Prince, John Dave Pritchard, Marion Polsini, Stanley and Dorothy Pyatt, Teresa Piscat, James Quinlan, Joseph T. Quinlan, Karen Ann Quinlan, Connie Quinn, J.R. Quinn, Robert Raggi, Sebastian Ragonesi, Antoinette Rando, William Rackett, Jennifer Reddick, Al Reynolds, Doris Richards, Betty Rinaldi, John Rinaldi, Victoria Rinaldi, Stacy Ritchie, Sal Ritz Jr., Uncle Robert, Nancy Roberts, Doris Robertson, Brian W. Roach, Robert Roach, Richard M. Rodheimer, Tyler J. Rodheimer, J. Henry Rodriguez, Marie Rome, Rubinetti family, Wes Rude, Dominic A. Ruggiero Sr., Marion Satterhoyt, Philip Sauer, John S. Shedding, William Shedding, Mary Schneckenberger, Evelyn Schatz, Dr. David Scott, Blake Szymanski, Jack A. Szymanski, Mary A. Szymanski, John J. Szymanski family.
Nancy Saratella, Farmer John Schauger, Dorothy R. Sidnam, Les Sidnam, Juanita Lloyd Sigmund, James T. Sikorsky, Paul William Saletti, David B. Simmons Sr., Ed Sisko, Brian Smith, George Smith, Sharon Smith, Emil M. Selecki, Ethel Selecki, Barbara Stem, Kenny Stem, Kenneth Stem Jr., Janice Stevens, Janet Lee Stay, Richard Stalker, John Stockmall, Alfred Stout Sr., Marguerite Strachan, Theodore Studney, Martha Sweeney, Thomas M. Sweeney, Larry Swenson, Patricia Swistak, Pat Shazubalek Samans, Alice Zebu, Thomas William Talbot, Anthony Tapp, Vincent C. Terrazona, Grace Tarazi, Tammy Ten Ike, Troy Ten Ike, Margaret Peg Thomas, Matthew Thomas, George J. Tilley, George Tilley, John David Tomasula, Uncle Tommy, Dick Tao, Gerd Trakel, Hilda Trzynski, Clifford W. Tucker, John A. Tewin, Marion and Jerry Turner, Cooper Uri, Blanquita Valenti, John Van Artsingen, Harry W. Vance, Robert Angelo Varisco, Peter Barcelona, Donald Veely, the Weberoth family, Charles Venner, Robert Bobby V. Villicari, Robert Villicari, Bert Villano, Dottie Villano, Lorraine Verga, Frank and Alice von Atkinson, Michelle Marie Wallach, Donald Patrick Walker, Kurt Edward Warner, Peggy Weaver, Albert Weenstra, Richie Weiss, Bobby Weller, James J. Wester Sr., Dorinda Whitehead, Steve Williamson, Michael Joseph Wills, Jill Wilson, Les and Lenka Wilson, Ruth Wilson, Marie Wentz, Eleanor H. Wendt, Tom Windsor, Wojcik family, Erwin M. Wolfson, Ann Woolman, Craig P. Wood, John M. Wood, Maureen L. Wood, Virginia Woods, Bill Zander, William Zander, Murray and David Zeigman, Herta Zickraff, Zero family, and Maria Zappi.
Greg Meehan, Gerald Band, George Tumino, Pauline Collins, Al and Rose Vanelli, John Ryan, Reverend Joe Ryan, Dad, Mom, Eleanor Pursuti, Robert T. Willis, friends, and loved ones from the Renetco Supermarkets family.
That concludes the reading of our loved ones' names for this evening. And again, I want to thank you for letting us have the gift of reading them out loud tonight. And we do apologize for any mispronunciations that may have happened. We really do try hard to make it as perfect for you as possible. So I would like to announce a musical selection by Jackie McManus and Bill McGowan. We got to hear them last night too, so it's like a double treat. So before I offer my reflections, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this event. One of our sponsors is Isla Frigerio Funeral Homes, and they've been a sponsor of this event for many years. So we really appreciate their continued support. And we have a new sponsor this year with Planet Networks. So I know a lot of people are really happy with Planet Networks coming around, so we also want to thank them for their sponsorship for the first time this year. So, for my reflections this evening, I was trying to think about what would be a good topic to share, and I kind of always come unprepared and let my heart speak as I'm wandering my way through here. But I always think that I'm always thinking about that tree, and that always seems to be the center of my reflections. And I was thinking, why is that? Why do I keep going to the tree? And it's like, well, duh, it's a tree lighting service, so of course it's going to be that. But there's more to it than that. And one of the things that strikes me about that tree is that it's the only service we have where the tree is lit year-round. So 24/7, 365, everybody gets to see that tree lit. They get to see lights on the tree that represent their loved ones. And when we do that, it brings a sense of comfort and peace, potentially, but that's one of the purposes there. So I started to think about it a little bit further, and I'm like, okay, so what would it be like to live on that street where you see that tree every day, all day, every day? Just imagine sitting in that living room, watching TV, and you see a Christmas tree out, and it's July. So, well, is that bothersome to some people? I'm not sure. Maybe they agreed wholeheartedly, maybe they weren't asked and they just went with the flow. But then I thought, you know what though? That's the town here. That's the community and the neighborhood that you all have, and that I feel very blessed to visit on a yearly basis at least, because it's that love and that support of each other as a neighborhood to know how important that symbol is to everybody every day. And then it got me thinking, you know what, that's like a Norman Rockwell painting. So, you know, Milford is like all with the warm hues and the warmth and the hearts. And I thought, oh, that might be it. And I'm like, no, it's the Whovilles from The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. It's like no matter what happens, you're all here for each other, to support each other. And I was imagining them all singing around that Christmas tree. And I'm not going to sing it for you because that would be mean. But when they say "fa who forays," I'm like, what does that mean? And I know Dr. Seuss is nonsensical, so what kind of logic could there be? But when I started to Google it, it actually had some theories about what that meant. And one of them was welcome love and welcome Christmas. And I thought, well, that's even a more profound statement, is welcoming love. So it's not just during the season of the holiday spirit and love, it's every day. You guys are offering this to your community who pass that tree every day. And then I thought, no, there's something even better that Milford is. It's the Hallmark Channel. So how many of you have watched the Hallmark Channel, especially now? Okay. So can you tell me what the main theme of this formulaic movie channel is? You can shout it out if anyone's brave enough.
Love.
Love. There we go. Right? There's always that sappy, innocent-hearted country girl who falls in love with that handsome, narcissistic business guy with the cold heart, but then they all fall in love with each other and we all live happily ever after. So I thought, maybe that's what it is, because to be able to come together to support each other, that's powerful, like I said before. But that's love. There could be some communities that would not welcome to have that kind of a symbol all day, all year. So why do we do that? And it's because we do love each other and we care about each other. And when we say that saying from the bereavement center that no one walks alone in grief, that's what you're saying. That's the symbol outside that tree, lit every day, all year long, is that no one has to walk alone in grief. And that's why you offer to the community. And so I want to thank you all for your generosity, your love and support for your neighborhood, your community, this town, and for allowing us to share a little bit of that with you this evening. So thank you. So now I do believe it's time for a transition. Let me just double check here. Yes, so we are going to transition across the street so that we can say a few more words and do the wonderful lighting of the tree. Okay, thank you everybody for transitioning safely from the church. I know it's a little muddy in some spots. Can you hear me in the back there? Okay. All right, so we're going to get started with our Lights for Life. Gaze upon this lighted tree, accepting the blessings that it sends, knowing each light bears a name of family and friend. Lights for Life, showing the way in a world that's dark and gray, showing us tomorrow can be a brighter day. Lights for Life, reflecting faith for each of our beliefs, to help us now upon this earth as we work through all the griefs. Lights for life filled with hope of a time that's yet to be, when peace and joy will rule the world and God will set us free. Lights for life aglow with love of loved ones now gone home. A gift to each one of you that simply says Shalom. Lights for life to make us smile as our lives we share anew, knowing faith, hope, and love will always see us through. May these lights of life refresh you as holiday seasons now begin, knowing God's love is always near, again and again and again. Okay, I'd like to invite Chaplain Dawn Bump up.
I'm going to be reciting a responsorial poem, so I invite you to say after some of these lines, we remember them. At the rising of the sun and as it's going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and at its end, we remember them. When we're weary and we need strength, we remember them. When we're lost and we're sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy and we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, and we remember them. We come to this time, this gathering, as a holy time. It's a time to remember our loss, our grief, to honor, to find comfort, and to walk the path of healing and the path of love. And I invite you to bring to mind any loss, a loss of your loved one, but we've had some other losses in these past few years also that might need some healing or need to come to mind. A relationship, a job, a dream, a loss of health. And we bring this loss or these losses to the presence of the holy. And this present of the holy lights are symbolized by the tree that we just lit. The light of the loss we remember has changed to shine in another time and place. And this light remains with us and accompanies us, as do the lights of our community, joy, mystery, grief, and thanksgiving. And now, may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, the peace that comes with acceptance and thanksgiving, be with all of you. May the light of God surround us all. May the love of God enfold us. May the power of God protect us, and may the presence of God watch over us. Wherever we are, God is, and we ask this in all the names of the holy. Amen.
So that will conclude our evening ceremony that we're sharing together. And again, I want to thank you all for joining us. And I wish you a peaceful, comforting holiday season and to be safe going home. Thank you.
Thank you.